everybody. Charity from the Coaching Queens, Queen Bee here. Actually, I think it's technically Queen Bee Burrows, what I go by. We're still struggling with that part. We're new. Today I have with me Jean, and Jean is from my youth group, The Tribe. And Jean has figured out inner peace on a level that I have not seen a young adult ever achieve. In all honesty.
I'm just killing it, you know?
You are. You like to vibe.
Yes.
I believe that's how you word it.
Yeah.
So, if you're comfortable talking about it, how did you come to realize that that's what you're doing, is that you're just vibing and going with the flow?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know when it exactly kind of clicked, but I moved up here and spent a lot of time trying to unlearn some, like, really traumatic shit, like, I think everybody, after dealing with trauma, has to unlearn a lot of really toxic behaviors because it happens. And I kind of, the way I was not doing so well is I just ruminated on a lot of shit, and I kind of let these really negative feelings, like, control me to a point where it's like I made it, that was who I am. I was just suffering through and through, and I needed to make that everybody else's problem.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't intentionally doing it, but it was just, my energy was always just so negative. And, like, I look back on it, and I fully understand why people wouldn't want to be around me, because I was just radiating negativity. And I kind of just realized, specifically after starting Tribe and getting more, like, in tune with myself spiritually, that really isn't the type of life that I want to live. I don't want to constantly let all my emotions control me, especially the negative ones. That's not fun.
Right.
So I kind of just realized how to figure it out in my head, what things are worth worrying about and what things aren't. And I realized a lot of things really aren't worth worrying about, you know?
Yes.
And it's just easier to just vibe with yourself and just be at peace, you know?
Yes.
It's just so, once you get it in your head on how to do it, it just becomes really easy.
Yeah, it becomes like a second nature.
Yeah.
And I know for me and for Joan, we both recognize when we start to fall out of that alignment with peace. Like, you can feel it. Like, it comes up. So when you hit those moments, what is one of the first things you do where you're like, uh-oh, I'm going to need to address this before it snowballs?
Yeah, usually with me, I tend to not really notice anything is going wrong until I'm, like, hit in the face with, like, really traumatic flashback. Or, just suddenly hit in the face with a huge wave of emotion that I'm not prepared for.
Oh, yeah, those are eye-openers. You're like, ow.
Ouchies, that hurt. And then, I usually, once again, just kind of figure out in my head, how long I need to, I don't set a certain time for it, because I don't think you should set a certain time for how long you need to let yourself feel these emotions.
Right.
But I kind of just figure out in my head, is this something that I need to feel right now? Like, do I need to just take a moment, take a deep breath, feel this, and let myself feel it through? Or is this something to just kind of be like, it's not worth it, you know? It's just take a chill pill. Is this something that I need to work through? Most of the time it's not, and it's me just being like, I just need to be dramatic for a second is how I word it. Like, I'll be fine, I just need to be dramatic for a minute. But most of the time it's just kind of figuring out in my head if it's something worth it putting energy into. And most of the time it's really not.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. I know a lot of adults who are trying really hard to get to that point. And it's definitely not one of the easier things we do in life, that's for sure. Because you're like, more work. That's great. So, in my journey with the whole inner peace thing, I recognize when I hit, versus, this is nice. I like this. This can stay. How do you go about anchoring the good stuff? Like, is there any techniques? Like, I'll sit there and I'll say, you know what? I like this. Thank you. This is great. And I really reinforce it through thoughts. Do you have any sort of actions that you may do where you're like, dude, this is nice. I'm enjoying this a lot.
Well, I like to just exist in the moment. So most of the time if I'm liking a feeling, I'm just existing in the moment with it and being like, this is really nice. I will like this when this feeling comes again, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like I like to just appreciate things that happen like right in the moment, you know?
Yeah. It's like that whole gratitude and appreciation thing.
Yeah.
It's very, very grounding in the moment, that's for sure. There's so, like, I wish I could package you up and be like, here, be like Jean.
Yeah.
Just vibe, dude, you know, but like you said, once you have that experience and you actually get to step out and witness it happening, do you find it easier to see other people when they're struggling and you're like, oh, yeah, you could do this, this, and this?
So what I tend to do that I kind of don't really notice I'm doing until like after I say it is like when people are like I can see that they're upset about something that I may realize it's not really worth putting in the energy for. Mm-hmm. Sometimes people take offense to it. Is I just tell them the phrase "it's not that deep," and like a lot of people get mad at me when I say that. When I just be like, "It's not that deep." And they get mad for a minute, and then I kind of see them sit with it for a second. And then they do realize, in fact, it is not that deep. And I kind of, just today, a friend was telling me that they were kind of worrying about some stuff, and I'm not going to go into what they were worrying about.
Right.
Because, you know. But I kind of just told them, is this really worth putting in the energy for? Like, you know, can you figure out in your noggin? Like, is this something that's worth worrying about? They kind of just, like, sat with it for a second. And they were like, I mean, it's probably not. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. It's not. Just, you know, take a minute. It's not that deep.
Yeah. I like that. It's not that deep. That's awesome. Usually Joan and I, when we want to hiccup each other and, like, break that thought where you start snowballing, we just yell, Sister Consolata hates money. That confuses. Yeah, exactly. That's the look I get from everybody right there. Just a look of what? But that's how it goes. You know, whatever it takes to hiccup the brain to break that pattern so you don't continue to snowball. And it's a really powerful thing. And I like how you look at, do I really want to put energy into this? Do I really need to feel this all the way through? Or can I just go back to vibing?
I mean, like, sometimes I won't listen to myself. Like, I'll be like, this really isn't worth it. And it's like, it might not be, but...
Right, yeah, we're going to do it anyways. And you're like, oh, self, come on, not today. Yeah, that's always a fun argument to hold with yourself, too.
Yeah.
Being human is definitely different. And especially when people deal with trauma. And to be able to come out of it as you have with the strength, the tenacity, and the wisdom is genuinely empowering, incredible, and a lot of the kids in Tribe do look up to you tremendously. And it's
a scary thought.
Right. And it's awesome because when you walk in, you're able to read the room and you're like, oh, no, And then you'll share something with the group, and it shifts the whole group. It's so powerful.
I usually call it Jean's unsolicited advice, but it's usually just, like, in my head. Like, I usually do it in, like, the chat. Usually I'll kind of just pick up on some energy sometimes, and I'm like, I think someone needs to hear this. I don't know who needs to hear this. Because I can't tell, but it's just, like, I think of something in my head that, like, just kind of clicks to me, like, just random pieces of, like, knowledge I've learned over the years, and I'm like, someone needs to hear this. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know who needs to hear this, but my brain's telling me I need to tell this to someone, so tell this to people.
Right, yeah, well, here, we'll just put it in the chat, and then they can take it and do it, you know, and it doesn't infringe on their right to choose, because everybody does, I mean, we get to pick and choose what we want to do, so if we want to hold ourselves there, that's fine. But I definitely prefer the vibe feel.
Yeah.
And I love how you want to, you know, get your own place and be independent but have it just be like a vibe haven.
Yeah.
I think that's so incredible.
Like, if you're talking about, like, when I get an apartment and stuff and when I, like, get my own place, I know growing up, I, like, really desperately, I would not have been as bad as I was if I had just had a place that I could go to. Like, to have someone to, like, talk to. I'm not super great at giving advice, I've noticed, because I tend to go things with a very logical point of view.
Hi!
And like, this person's being mean to me, and I'm like, then just stop talking to them. Like, they're my friend, though, and it's like, but they're being mean to you. Stop talking to them.
Right.
They're being mean.
Yeah.
And people don't really like to hear that.
No.
And it's not a way of people, like, enjoy living, being just super logically, like, rationalizing behaviors and stuff.
Yeah.
That's just who I am. I can cut ties with people pretty easily if they're, like, disrespecting my boundaries. I won't feel bad about being like, get out of my life. Like,
right? Especially if you give them the chance. You know, you tell them, you're like, hey, hold on a second. I can deal with this, but this is too far. And then it's like they purposely push it, and you're like, I gave you a warning. Bye-bye now.
Yeah, I hate seeing, like, people letting themselves get walked over, and a lot of the times it's because of emotional attachments to people, and like just
balancing that logic with the emotion. I think that's really where that piece comes in, is when you can pull the two together and be like, that feel is too much and that brain is too much, and then you find that balance and you're just like, yeah, that's cool, but having enough respect to know your boundaries too. It's really, it's freeing. It helps. And just being able to create that world for yourself that you didn't have growing up is going to be so powerful.
And I'm pretty aware that I have a very, like, neutral, calming energy with people. Yes. And I know that the place that I would have would definitely be, like, a honing in of that neutral calmness. They just, like, can walk in and be like, this is a vibe.
It's going to be like nice. A moth to a candle. They're going to be like, ooh, calm. And I think a lot of people are drawn to that because they don't know necessarily how to recognize it, but just on instinct, they're like, oh, I like that. That feels good, because it takes all that off of them.
I kind of just describe myself as, like, energy comes at me and just kind of bounces off of me, you know? Like, they throw, like, a ping pong ball of energy at my head and it just, pop.
Oh, goodness, that's going to give me a whole new visual now. Walk in, bing, 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 pew, pew. I deflect your negativity. So, well, thank you so much for sharing that. That is absolutely incredible. If anyone has any questions, you can feel free to put it in the chat. You can email us. We'll get you in contact with Jean if you'd like to talk to them more about how they managed to overcome this. Part of the youth group, man. You wanna really check out what the youth group's doing. It's growing, it's moving, and we're stepping into our own here. It's pretty cool. There's a lot of vibe.
Yeah, it's moving very fast.
It is very, very fast. But tonight we got the energies chilling here. It's gonna be a good night. We're gonna hopefully not rock too loud tonight, because I don't want to disrupt the energies. But you know, we'll see how bitey everybody is. Maybe they might need to do that. But so I thank you so much for taking time to talk with us, and I'm sure we will end up having a follow-up episode, because it's awesome.
I'm killing it. I'm pretty awesome, right?
You are. You totally are, dude. And, you know, just to watch your journey as you continue to grow is pretty cool. Yeah. And then you can help teach others on how to just vibe, man.
Yeah. Definitely been a lot of growth in the past, like, 6 months.
Right.
You know, it's like,
oh, we're doing this now. Okay.
Like, I think I should just dedicate a personality of myself, just pre-quarantine Jean, you know?
There you go. There you go. Before and after. Oh, you could write a book.
I could.
See? There you go. Start a podcast. Hint, hint.
Don't tempt me.
See? Perfect. I like that idea. Well, I hope this helps people. Like I said, if you want to get a hold of us or Jean, just go ahead, leave a comment, send us an email, and we will make sure we make all the connections. Have a great night, everybody.
Finally, a better way to hold your phone. Introducing Steady Straps. Made here in the USA, Steady Straps are high-quality, flexible straps that adjust to hold virtually any phone comfortably and securely. Steady Straps are washable and come in a wide range of colors and styles. See them all at SteadyStraps.com. Because they're so visible, they're the perfect promotional item to advertise your company message or logo. Learn more at SteadyStraps.com. That's SteadyStraps.com.